NASA's James Webb Space Telescope detected something so strange and mysterious, far beyond the planets we know. Deep in the cold darkness past Neptune, where sunlight barely reaches and space feels empty and silent. This area, called the Trans-Neptunian Belt, is filled with small icy worlds that scientists long believed were just frozen leftovers from the early days of the solar system, quiet and lifeless for billions of years. But the powerful eyes of Webb showed a very different picture, one that shocked the scientists and challenged everything they thought they knew. Instead of smooth balls of ice and rock, the telescope's images revealed strange glowing cracks and deep fissures on the surfaces of these distant objects. These cracks pulsed softly with light, as if something inside them was alive, sending slow, steady signals like a heartbeat across the cold emptiness. The cracks were not random or natural. Their shapes were sharp, their patterns repeated in perfect order, and some even looked like symbols or signs placed with purpose. NASA's heat sensors also picked up tiny bursts of warmth coming from inside these frozen worlds, something no one expected so far from the sun's heat. Even more puzzling, some of these icy objects moved in unusual ways, their paths guided by forces no one could explain, as if invisible hands were controlling them. The scientists watched in awe and fear when in one image, a faint, ghost-like shape shifted across one glowing crack, briefly turning toward the telescope as if aware it was being seen. This moment filled the room with silence and wonder, leaving the team full of questions and no answers. Could these frozen worlds be ancient machines, left here by a civilization long gone? Was the light they gave off a message, a warning, or a call for help? The NASA team worked tirelessly, trying to understand the strange signals hidden in the glowing cracks, hoping to find meaning in the mysterious pulses. Their discoveries were slow but growing more incredible by the day, threatening to rewrite everything humanity thought it knew about the solar system, life, and the universe itself. Deep inside NASA's control rooms, the tension was thick as scientists stared at streams of data, searching for patterns and signs of intelligence in the cold darkness. Outside, the world remained unaware that humanity was standing at the edge of a discovery that could change our understanding of life and the cosmos forever. NASA's James Webb Telescope continued its silent watch, shining light on these ancient, icy worlds and revealing that they were not just frozen rocks, but secret keepers of an ancient mystery, waiting patiently for someone to listen and learn their story. And this was only the beginning of a journey into the unknown that could lead us to answers we never dreamed possible. Possible as it seemed, the mysteries hidden within the Trans-Neptunian Belt were only just beginning to reveal their true nature. For as NASA's James Webb Space Telescope continued its watchful gaze, the signals from those glowing cracks grew clearer and more complex. No longer simple pulses but intricate patterns that hinted at intelligence beyond human understanding. Patterns that repeated in rhythms and codes which the scientists desperately tried to decode using every tool and method they had. From advanced computers to experts in mathematics and linguistics, yet the message resisted all attempts at full interpretation, teasing them with glimpses of meaning that slipped away like shadows. And with each passing day, the urgency to understand grew, fueled by a deepening sense of awe and a creeping fear that humanity was being observed or contacted by a presence far older and wiser than anything ever imagined. Some members of the team speculated quietly that these icy bodies might be more than natural objects, perhaps remnants of an ancient civilization that had mastered the art of survival in the coldest corners of space, leaving behind these cryptic signs as a legacy or a warning for any who came after, while others wondered if the light itself was alive, a form of consciousness evolved beyond flesh and bone, communicating through pulses and symbols frozen within the ice. But whatever the truth was, it was clear that the Trans-Neptunian objects were not silent. Empty worlds but active participants in a cosmic story unfolding at the edge of human knowledge. And then one night, as Webb sensors detected a sudden, unexpected burst from one of the largest objects in the belt, the control room at NASA was thrown into chaos as the light changed from steady pulses to rapid flashes that formed an unmistakable pattern, an unmistakable signal that seemed to be responding directly to their observations. A response that implied awareness and intention, a contact that blurred the lines between science and the unimaginable. And as the scientists worked feverishly to translate this new message, it became clear that what they were witnessing was not just discovery, but the beginning of communication, a dialogue that could unlock secrets about life, the universe, and humanity's own place within it. Yet with every answer, new questions arose. Who sent these signals? Were they still out there, watching? And what did they want? The world outside remained oblivious, but inside the halls of NASA, a quiet revolution was taking place, one that would change how we see ourselves and the cosmos forever. And as the James Webb Space Telescope continued to send back its precious data, the team braced for what might come next, knowing that humanity was no longer alone in the dark, but part of a grander story written in the frozen light of the distant stars. Stars had always seemed like distant, silent points of light, untouched and unknowable, but now, thanks to the James Webb Space Telescope, they were part of a growing cosmic conversation, one that stretched across unimaginable distances and time itself, reaching into the frozen edges of the solar system and beyond, where the Trans-Neptunian Objects hid their secrets beneath layers of ice and darkness, waiting patiently for a moment like this when humanity was ready to listen. The signals coming from these icy worlds grew more complex, revealing not only patterns but what appeared to be map star charts drawn in light, pointing to places no telescope had ever clearly seen before, distant systems that might hold the key to understanding who or what had created these strange markings. And the team at NASA felt as though they were peeling back layers of a cosmic onion, each discovery revealing more questions and deeper mysteries. And the weight of this knowledge settled heavily on their shoulders, for the implications were vast and terrifying. If these maps were accurate, they hinted at an intelligence capable of traveling across galaxies, or at least communicating over vast cosmic distances, sending messages encoded in ice and light that had traveled for billions of years to reach Earth. And as the scientists worked around the clock to interpret the data, they noticed something even more astonishing. A faint echo of the pulses was coming from within our own solar system. Closer than anyone could have guessed, a signal buried deep inside the ice moon Europa orbiting Jupiter, where thick sheets of frozen water hid oceans beneath. And when the telescope shifted focus to Europa, the images showed subtle glimmers and faint lights beneath its surface, as if something was stirring in the dark waters below, possibly alive, possibly intelligent. And this discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community, challenging the long-held belief that life in the solar system was limited to Earth alone, suggesting instead that the ocean worlds might be connected somehow to the signals from the distant Trans-Neptunian belt, as though a web of communication existed between these icy bodies, forming a hidden network spanning the outer reaches of the solar system. And with each new observation, the story grew more incredible and more urgent, because if life or intelligence existed beneath Europa's ice, and if that life was aware of the distant signals, then the universe was far more connected and alive than anyone had dared to imagine. And the question shifted from "Are we alone?" to "Who is trying to reach US and why?" Back at NASA, the atmosphere was tense yet electric as teams scrambled to prepare new observations, working with international partners to point every available instrument toward these mysterious signals and the worlds they seemed to come from. And yet, despite all their efforts, the true meaning behind the glowing cracks, the pulsing lights, and the ghostly shapes remained just beyond reach. A tantalizing secret wrapped in cosmic shadows, and as days turned into weeks, strange new data arrived, unexpected readings of faint transmissions encoded not in light or heat, but in subtle gravitational waves that rippled through space-time itself, a form of communication so advanced it defied current understanding. And these waves seemed to carry messages layered with meaning, perhaps warnings or guidance, perhaps invitations, and the challenge became greater than ever. How to translate a language older than stars, a language written in the fabric of the universe. And as the scientists debated theories and possibilities, some began to wonder if the answer might lie not just in technology, but in something more profound, a connection between consciousness and the cosmos.